Hello everyone, it's Sloth here. Today we are going with the DIMIR control deck, but it won't be a typical control deck. It will be a Kefnet based deck. So for those of you that do know this card, it's pretty sweet, but for those that do not, it's a 4 mana, 4/5 flying creature, and every time you draw a card for the first time this turn, so every draw step from your turn, and if you draw anything on the enemy turn, it also counts for the draw and the trigger. If you hit, like you reveal the top card from your deck, and if it's an instant or sorcery, you can copy it with the discount, 2 mana discount. So that's amazing, and the whole deck that you can see here is based on this effect. So the idea is that after we hit Kefnet and we get to draw 1 or 2 times, we should probably be buried in card advantage. And it's also tempo advantage because everything just comes faster. So as you can see, the whole deck is built around it, and we have even more like cute stuff because we also substitute part of our land base with the double-edged, the land spell cards, and when you reveal those, they count as a spell, a sorcery spell or an instant spell, and they get discount. So right now you can play this land and get 1 mana scry of 6 cards, for example, or you can have 1 mana discard enemy card from the hand and still have a land. So when it works, it's amazing synergy and it really speeds you up. So honestly, I had opponents that gave up after seeing 1 removal spell that's removed, and as you can see, Kefnet discounts by 2 colorless mana, so only the colorless mana is discounted. And as you can see here, all of our cards are made specifically so they have this 2 colorless mana card cost. So Raska is for 2 mana, those cards are for 1 mana. You can use 1 black mana for removals. You can even use Shadow Verdict for 3 mana, which is insane. It also helps if you have 4 mana, you can't get a land drop, and you only have 4, so without the discount you wouldn't be able to cast it. With it, sometimes you can. So those are the small things. And also we have synergy with the Arund, because his Raven form gives you Scry too. So you can just, shuffle things, so you can play the big cards with discount. And let me tell you, if you are able to use 6 mana and then scry 4 and draw 4, this will win you a game. Especially late game when, for example, you are at 8-9 mana, you still get to hold the counter spell. So things like this just win you the game outright. If you have hit Shadow Verdict against any kind of aggro deck, you wipe everything for 3 mana and you still have a wipe. At this point they see it and they usually concede. So this is a very good synergy if it works, and 4 mana isn't huge for Kefnet, and he's very durable, so often you can just block with it and just, slow the game enough that if the enemy can't directly remove it, he just falls behind in 2 turns. We also have Arund Epiphany. It also synergizes very well with the Kefnet, because this is on the draw step, so if you get additional turn, you get additional chance to trigger this. However, you need additional mana on top of this, so you need at least 7 mana to benefit from this. However, if you filter it and have 7 mana, it's worth enough. So if you hit Silundi, Pelaka Predation or Removal, it's already worth it, and you get additional turn with everything, so it's just good. Especially that Kefnet is a flyer, so he always hit the enemy in the face. Nearly. Not always, but you know the idea. So that's the idea behind this deck. Is it very competitive? I would say it isn't. It's for sure not like tier 1. However, when you go for gold and platinum, generally you will win quite a lot. So it's solid deck. It's very fun, especially when you start copying the spells and the enemy just sees your 2 mana removals with exile effect and gain life and everything. So it's fun to play. and it's pretty strong. It's not tier 1, but definitely it's playable, and you can probably go to diamond without much trouble with this. I'm not sure about mythic. I think you shouldn't, but you know, it depends. So I don't think it's worth crafting exclusively to play this deck, unless you want to have a lot of fun. If you are a guy who wants the, you know, much fun interactions, that's a really nice deck to play, and I will keep it and I will play for sure. I really enjoy the Kefnet idea, and I think this deck tries to bring the best from him, especially that you can even small things like font size. It's just so fun. You get to double everything you have. So one last synergy that it's not easy to spot at the first glance. You can actually cycle the sensor on the enemy turn, and this counts as a draw. So it's 1 mana, trigger Kefnet. So even if you play it, the enemy removes it on his turn, you still can benefit from it. So, you know, a lot of small things. And I assume you are bored to death with this story, but I just like DIMIR and Kefnet decks too much. So let's go to the games, and remember, if you like the channel, subscribe. I will try to make as much videos as possible, and I enjoy the DIMIR and Esper, so if you are one of those guys, I am pretty sure you will like the content. So enjoy the games, and thanks. So how adventurous do we feel ourselves? We have 2 lands, and theoretically we can play nearly whole hand for 2 mana. So let's go. I feel it's not the worst. It has a lot of options. The only question I have right now is, do we go for Ascanta or just the multiverse? And the enemy, oh man, that's unlucky, only 5 cards. I think it won't be better for him if we font size him after this. Probably if I went turn 2 font size, he would just concede. But that would be a bit... oh no, not mono blue. If that's mono blue, I will be sad. I hate this deck. Yeah, and it seems to be a mono blue of some kind. And what it means is that we don't do either. Okay, unless it's white-blue. So it's white-blue enchantment decks. Still a weird one. I think we force him to discard cards because of his bad start, and we can font size even more. Platinum Angel. Oh man, I have no idea what those decks do. And now very important, I think we go like this. We need to check what's going on, because this is a very weird deck. So this gives protection, that doesn't matter, and this one is a tutor. So let's go from this. Is this some kind of combo deck? It seems to be, but... so probably he plays the Angel somehow, and then gives him hexproof and protection. So he probably plays the Angel and just tries to keep him alive, which isn't a problem for our deck. I think this is the point where we play Ascanta. We aren't in a huge trouble, we have a lot of life, but we need to hit the land drops so we can refill the hands, and Ascanta will help. And of course, foretelling this would also help, but this one is one time. This is also a good card. I will keep it. Is this some kind of reanimator deck? It might be. Okay, it might be because this discards card, this as well, so, and big creatures. Okay, so probably this 4 mana flashback thing that resurrects. Oh man, that's so weird. I think we wait. I want to keep counter spells, and with Ascanta it shouldn't be long before we find the forefront, and when we do, that will be super good for us. Yeah, if we kill it now, we cannot use counter spell. Okay. So now force him to discard a card. This is just normal equip, so he cannot do it in an instant. Oh man, this is a land, but it's not the best one. And how many cards do we have here? Okay, at this point I will take it. I just want to make sure that we do everything next turn. I still want the counter spells. I don't know what this deck exactly does. I assume he has some trigger card that enable the shenanigans, so we do want to counter those. Okay, and this one is good. So we are at 6 life, but we can draw a lot this turn, and very soon we will switch Ascan. Oh, not very soon, but soon. It's very possible next turn we go for a Verdict. I just want to draw a lot of cards right now. So, Sensor doesn't do anything. This one does. I don't think he has any kind of removal. So actually Kefnet is pretty good. And we just need one additional land. And this is the land that we really want. So, let's play like this. I'm not sure what the enemy has. He didn't show any kind of instant. This isn't instant. It might just be the blade, sorry, the Harrow Blade trigger, I guess. But we will keep the Heartless Act just in case. It won't kill the Harrow Blade, but one card, this card always hurts. Okay, and this also makes him tapped. I don't know what exactly is going on, but if we save Kefnet and survive this turn, I think we are in a very good position. So I prefer to do it like this, and it also speeds the graveyard a bit. And as you can see, the cards for the enemy seem to be very important. He will prefer to sacrifice it. Okay, so let's do it like this. Those colors shouldn't have haste, and he doesn't seem to have any instant. So we should be fine on our winning road at this point. I still don't exactly know what the enemy is doing to the battlefield. Yeah, I don't think so. We can go with one counter. Okay, so this is graveyard. Now we have Ascanta. So do we go for big control or just go with this one? I think this one is more important. It creates quite a lot of pressure. So the only question is, do we want lands, which are probably easier to get, or instants? I prefer instants. And we would get +2 with the lands. Oh man, we aren't getting very lucky. And we have quite a bit of instants, I think around 15. So it's lower chance than the other thing, but it's not huge. Okay, and the Angel. It doesn't do really much right now. So I think we just keep it for now. Oh man, if we got it turn faster, it would be great. So, what we are going to do? Probably attack with the Around. See if the enemy blocks it. He won't. When we get enemy to 0 HP, every sweeper in the deck will win the game, except the Shadow Verdict. Now I'm thinking if we have like big sweeper in a way. Okay, it's getting interesting. He has a lot of refurbish, but lands are much more important, like in this second. So we need as many as we can get. Okay, and we finally got an instant, so that's fine, I guess. And we can even play it at the end step. So we cannot counter it right now, so we won't. Okay, so let's keep going. So I think we need to... That's fine. That's a good card. No thanks. So, what do we want? We want to attack him, and pretty much let's do it like this. Okay, and he just relies on the Angel completely right now. So let's go for the Epiphany. The enemy doesn't seem to run any kind of counter spells, so that should be safe. We don't really need this one. And what do we want? Let's go for any kind of sorcery, because instant cannot target it. Okay, and that's probably it. So that was the card that we were waiting, because the other ones are based on converted mana cost, and that's very high. However, I think we needed to draw it as a draw, so we can double cast it, because this one gives +1 toughness, so it wouldn't hit it otherwise. So let's go for the Reveal. Yeah, that's interesting. And that was a good game. It was a bit closer than I thought it would be. That doesn't work, but and that's a good try, because it doesn't target anything and the enemy knows it, so that's how he plays. Oh man, let's give him nice, because that was a nice protection. However, with this kind of play, any sweeper just kills him, and that's a problem. So he buffed the Angel quite a lot. Versus any control deck, however, it's a bit too slow, because like they have a lot of sweepers and they can counter parts of your combo, and even if you get everything, you cannot like save the Angel, like you saw. However, our deck is mostly like tech against aggro, so like everything above 3 mana cost is a bigger problem than for most control decks, so that's why it was a bit, I think we got a bit lucky with the draw from the Kefnet. So we are going first, and we have quite a good draw, especially I like the removal part. Every time you have removal, it's very good versus all aggro decks. On the play, counter spells aren't the worst, but usually it's not great to pay 3 mana to kill one creature, especially if they go for 1-2 drops. It's just slow play in the end, and we indeed have some aggro. So this will be a white, probably Angel deck. And now a very big decision. Do we want a Scanta or we want to kill something? So I expect Bishop on the second turn. Bishop or some kind of a Ajani, but I think they don't really play Ajanis in this deck very much. So probably Bishop. So then we can play a Scanta this turn. Then he plays Bishop, then we kill it when he plays the 3 mana Angel. So I think that's fine. This will help throughout the game. So if you can spend this one turn to like make it work, it will help you in the long run, like by a huge deal. Especially that we only have one round for next turn, so we actually will need some help. Okay, so this is the aspirant part. And he paid 2 life, so he's 1 turn behind, and we will take this. I think we do it like this. And we will kill the aspirant, because that's the part that ramps. And we probably, yeah, we will kill it before the turn, like before the attack phase. Or, as someone would correct me, the combat phase. This is a very nice land. I like this scheme. And this is also a weird deck. You don't really play those together. Usually the green is only for collected company. Okay, that's a lot of stuff. Okay, we will do it, so we can do it now. Given it's 1-1, we could wait for Pelt Collector to hit the board. If that had already some kind of buff, that would be a bad play. Okay, and now we need to find some board sweep. We have 2 black mana, so... but actually we can go for black as well. And we could draw a card with Cling to Dust, so that's not bad. But we probably would prefer Censor and Helpless Act. We don't really go for Tome because our Ascanta was the 2 mana play that we needed short time, and it's a bit more mana efficient because you pay it once and it works every turn till the end of time, and in the end it helps you with the mana and so on. So he wants to flip it, and at this point I think we allow it. And do we want to take a hit? If we kill the Vanguard, it doesn't make a huge difference. However, if we kill something else, he won't be at 26. So I think we need to kill something. And this has to be something with lifelink. Because he can activate it when he's 27. So this way we kill also an Angel, and we get more time to find our answers. Okay, and actually the enemy maybe wanted to skip our counter spell, but that's great for us. So let's go for cycling. At this point it won't be the best card. Okay, and let's go for King. This can also give us 3 life, I guess. And it also helps us to draw. Okay, so double sensor. Because it also helps us a bit with the mana. Okay, and this is the card. So we do want this. And I think we go main phase. This way, if we hit the tap land, we can play it right now and next turn clear the board. And do we want this? Not really. Because after we clear the board, the enemy will play something and we will be tapped out, so yeah. Okay, and now we pray we leave this turn, and if we do, I think we are in a fine spot. And this would be crucial with this 27 life, because right now we would be hit by another 4 damage, 5 damage, 6 damage total. So in reality we would be at 5. So anything that he plays already kills us pretty much. However, we might still die. If one or more would pull counters... okay. So now the only question is, do we die this turn? Okay, that's fine. This all will trigger after the turn. I think we leave. We can actually go for Swamp and go Cling to Dust. So we have even more life. 5, 7, 8. Yeah. And the enemy is tapped out, so he cannot make token after the board clear. So I think we might have it. Okay, now the big question. No reason to waste it. So, do we want to purge our own graveyard? This doesn't flip a Skanta as well, so it's not great. You know what? I will go for life. I think I have swamps, like 2. Yeah. I get why it might be not the best, but being at 3 life and also like purging one of the cards from our graveyard, that makes some difference. So this is graveyard as well, we don't need as much card draw, especially that we flipped a Skanta. And suddenly we have 6 mana. So let's do the obligatory part. And now the game is on, especially with Elrond and the Raven that has flying. Okay, that's not bad. Actually, this one is even better for us, as long as he doesn't flip it with Heliod. It doesn't really accomplish much. And let's go for the run. Okay, I really like this situation. So, we go for Elrond. And Askanta, I think this is the time for the tome. Because we survived this turn. And what do we want? I don't think we need sorcery, so let's go for instant. Because we need counter spells and remover, and that's pretty much the only cards that we need. So if that's like the main turn for the enemy. And the enemy wants to trade. And I think we are fine with it. It's only 2 damage, and we will get more from the tome soon. So even if he runs some +2/+2 cards, like buffs, he wouldn't kill us. If we are at 4 HP, I think I would trade, probably. and we will scry, just to put the counter in case we need extra life. So land isn't the thing we need, so we got land. We could cling to dust, but it's just better to draw additional card this way. We need to remember the enemy has both creatures, so we are at 3 HP, best case. We don't have creatures, so we cannot do it like this. We also can go for Ascanta, and I think that's the best play. And if we drew something good, we can play the land still. And this is very good. But not for this turn. And I think one land shouldn't be a problem. We still might get to draw something, so I won't be doing anything. Like won't be playing Ascanta, even though we technically could. That's a mistake, no reason to do it right now. And we didn't get anything. Okay, and this one will make a counter, but it won't be enough. So unless the enemy has some kind of buff in mind, I don't think it will matter much with Raska Contempt. So at this point let's just draw with Ascanta. It's extra card and you want as much mana as you can. And let's go for this. So this pretty much make the enemy conceded a bit too early, like he had one more turn. Yeah, we advanced. However, he had one draw, probably this was a land, I assume, if he kept it. No reason not to play anything. So we would kill this one. He wouldn't be able to activate the Heliod. So probably it wouldn't be possible for him to do anything. However, you know, it's always worth to check extra card and see. Unless there was nothing in his deck that could solve the situation. And we are going first, which is amazing, and we have a good mix of lands and cards, so there's a lot of things that we can do with this. I think we might go for Pelaka. I don't know what I'm against. This could suggest some control deck, but I think at this rate we can use the Silundi as well. And this will come untapped probably, so it's better to use one of those. This one is a bit slow, so given I'm not sure what I'm playing against, I just prefer like some solid answers, and this one is a bit better usually. Okay, and 2 mana is enough for us, so let's go for this one and just Forter. So it's probably some creature deck in the end. Okay, and it is. I assume guy didn't have Lurus, and this is one of the most important cards for the matchup, so we aren't going to waste it. Yeah, let's do it like this. And now the question, do we kill it? I don't think we will. Like, he needs more creatures to make use of it, and it's not like we are sweeping next turn. Or we could, but we probably won't. Mask of Immolation. When comes into battlefield, create a 1/1 token and attach. Okay. Okay. And he attacks. I won't be killing her, so I will be drawing. And I have enough lands, so let's just thin the deck a bit. And we do want island at this point. So then we get untapped land for the drawn catacombs. And the enemy is thinking really hard. I'm not sure if he knows that it's his turn, so I will mention it. But this is interesting, so is it the ability? I think he has something else. Because this one... Oh, okay, he can sacrifice it with no mana. So, let's draw cards. That's an interesting card. It might be worth to keep it. This is really tempting. And Kefnet won't be very useful so far, so actually let's try for those. We have a lot of land and we have some answers, so... And we top deck everything we want. So I guess that's enough. Okay, and we have 4 mana, which is a very big thing. We could go for Kefnet, however he will play the creature, sacrifice it and kill Kefnet for free, so it's not very good trade. We need to kill the priest first. So let's just go for the tome, start going with this, and probably killing in the end the priest of Forgotten the God, but it depends what he does. So of course it seems to be some kind of Rakdos sacrifice, but it seems to be, it might be some kind of basic deck. I'm not sure what are those, but he doesn't have Croxa so far, Arcanist and so on, so I'm not sure if that's the normal deck that he should be using. And at this point, I think we can kill her, because it's very unlikely that he will sacrifice both in response. And if he does, that's great for us. And if we want to sweep, we might. Okay, and he sacrificed both to get 1 card. And this is combat phase, so he won't be able to use the mana for anything like permanent. So he just board swept his board to get 3 damage in my face, which is very interesting. Okay, and we will scry, and that's fine, because I really want additional mana every turn. And this is a very good way to do it. So we can go with the Kefnet. He's 4 mana, so this Claim the Firstborn won't affect him. And I do want Sirundi. We have card advantage with Tome, so this one isn't as needed. It could be good, but I think it's a bit too slow. Okay, and the most important thing is that we scry to keep Kefnet going. Actually, he made a huge harm to himself, because he destroyed everything and we still have board sweep. So normally this refill would be a problem, because we already used our solution, but in his version we didn't lose anything, and that's a very good card. Okay, so we draw it, reveal it, and just cast it for 2 mana. Okay, and we don't want the devil, because he's the big guy, obviously. Alright, so he swept. However, I wouldn't be playing probably the Bog land, because, like this one, because this is such a crucial part of the matchup, so you actually want to use it as a win condition. So probably I would go with Hagra Mauling, because we have Verdict, and this one can be very useful when enemy has something that we cannot deal with, so it's good for finding answers. And probably he wouldn't be able to kill Kefnet very easily.